harvest here has been kind of interesting for us. Anybody that's in our area in Northeast Ohio, we've run into some snafus with the elevators getting full and having nowhere to go with the corn. And locally here for us, our local Centera co-op in Smithville got full and had to start limiting when people could come in, and now they're to the place where it's by appointment only. So for us, we have everything here at home stuffed full. We couldn't put another kernel on the roof, I don't think. Mansfield at one point in time got full. That's our big terminal west of us here, the next closest big terminal. But they are accepting corn now. So we had an appointment for corn that we shelled on Friday. It's a beautiful day, but they would only take a limited amount of corn or we would have finished this field. And then as it turned out yesterday, when we took the corn up, they said that our vomitoxin level was 15. Up to this point in time, we really haven't had any vomitoxin that they've really spoken of. So they didn't want any more. So the other remaining 2 loads I had to find a home for. So I got on the phone and I tried another elevator north of us here that took corn from us last year, but his vomitoxin level limit was 5. So that was not an option. But they do have trucks available. I was potentially going to use them to truck it, but then a friend of Ben's, his father does some trucking, been doing a lot of corn hauling this fall. So we got him to haul it for us. So we offloaded those wagons and shelled one more to get enough, 3 loads. Got what he could fit on this semi here, close to 1,000 bushels, not quite. And so that went to Mansfield last evening. There the vomitoxin level was 6. Locally that load I took in was 15, so be that as it may, I've heard a lot of variables. You can get it tested different places and get different numbers, but anyway, that doesn't really matter. What does matter is we found a place to go with it. So he brought us a truck again this morning. Whether we get done today or not remains to be seen. We've got about 10 acres left here to shell, and I doubt if it's going to fit on one semi. So we're going to fill one this morning, and I'll call him and he'll take it out, and depending on his schedule, he may be back with the truck today, and then we can obviously finish it up on the second load. But that's where we're at. We're trying to get done, but like I said, we've run into a few snafus here toward the end. We try to take a little bit in once in a while during harvest because we know this is going to happen. It's been a problem in recent history here. As trucks keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, they can flood the elevator up very quickly, and sometimes they can overrun the capacity of the wet holding capacity they have for their dryer. Another thing working against us this year, a lot of guys had some really wet corn they took in early, and so that slowed the drying process down quite a bit for them. They couldn't dry it as fast as what they normally do just because it was so extremely wet. So yeah, we've had several things. For us personally, our only big snafu we've had this year is a little bit of sterol trouble, but we're through that now. So we're going to continue this morning, get this semi filled, and then possibly get done this afternoon if he brings us another truck. Some of the wettest corn we've done. I can't quite understand why that is. Perhaps it's because it's a little bit heavier soil, but it's 22% moisture. We were taking off corn a week ago that was 16, 17, that was planted much later than this. I don't know why that is. I don't remember this as being a long season corn. It was the last corn that was planted the year before. It was in the planter boxes, and I didn't bother dumping it out. I just was excited to get started, and I went to the field and planted it. So it sticks in my mind it was probably around a 99-day corn, 95-day corn, but for whatever reason, little on the wet side, so I guess you can't understand what happens all the time. And the stand is not the best. There's spots in here where there's some voids. I guess if I had known the weather was going to turn around like it did, I probably waited another day, because everything planted the day after this was perfect, but the ground was still just a little bit heavy. We no-tilled almost all the corn last spring, so this was no-tilled into cover crops, and it was closing, but I don't know what happened. I think we got some rain shortly thereafter, so something happened. There was some spots in here that didn't come up very well. Most of the field is pretty uniform, but there are some voids in here, which is impacting the yield. Well, for all practical purposes, I guess we'll say that this load's full, and there's probably still almost 5 acres on the back side there to go, so it's close to another load. Might not be completely full, but it'll be pretty full. I guess that's about as close as you can cut it. Well, we'll have to shut her down now until he comes back.
Well, there's been a bit of an intermission here between the last time we had filmed working on this. We've actually finished up corn harvest. It's actually the day after Christmas today. We've got Braden in here helping us today, Dad obviously, and we are working on this 884 front end loader. These are the plates that we started cutting out the other day that I had filmed. Kind of sped through some of that. I don't know how much of that we really filmed, but blew this all out with the plasma cutter, cleaned it all up, drilled all of our holes, got everything kind of cleaned up, and we are starting to assemble this here. We've got the left-hand frame rail in place. It's just sitting there loosely. That's why it's not quite at the correct angle. I'll use my angle finder. We'll get that square with the hood. That way it looks good from far away. We're going to get the other plate here ready and get it mounted up, and then we're going to start finishing this out. We need to make our cross piece for the front that'll weld in, that'll bolt in on the front. And then we have to make our pieces that will resemble the factory brackets that were for that loader. So this is for an 806 all the way on up to 56 and 66 series, correct? Yeah. Anyway, so this bracket is kind of universal amongst those 3 series of tractors. This is an 884, so this is the 84 series tractor that's not quite compatible with that style bracket. This loader was not originally designed for this tractor, so we were kind of retrofitting it onto this thing. So we're going to take our frame rails just like the other side, bring it back and run from the front to the rear here, or sorry, from the rear to the front. We did this backwards. We will then take some scrap cut-off steel from torching those out, weld that on the bottom, very similar to how this mount is, and obviously have some gusseting just like this one does. So got a little bit of fabrication ahead of us here, but we're getting started on this, hoping to get this thing wrapped up pretty soon here. We've been wanting to do this project for a while, but as with farming, things get in the way, so we're going to get back at it here and carry some steel.
This side is on the back, right?
Yep. Just like last time, we're going to sit on top of the tire or rotate. You got a bolt ready, Dad? You ready?
Yep.
I'm too far back.
Let's see.
Right here. Go up a little bit.
It needs to go down, actually, right there.
There we go.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's not good.
I think there's flexible on the other one. I'm
Am I?
pretty sure.
Well, we had to make a run to town to get the correct bolts, and then that turned into a bit of a fiasco. Had to tap all these out. The casting hasn't been used, I think, probably in the lifetime of this tractor. So we had to clean out all them holes with a tap and an impact to make it so our bolts could actually tighten up so we could bottom this thing out. Had to take a grinder. There's the starter back in along this frame rail here, you can see, and there's some bolstering on the frame rail. You probably can't, well, maybe you can just see it down there. Had to kind of round out the back side of this plate to account for that. I didn't necessarily want to blow a hole in this. I thought about doing that. In hindsight, that probably would have been a lot faster, but I didn't do that. So we got everything bolted up and squared away here. I'm going to work on taking a plasma cutter here, and I've got another section of 3/4 plate back here, kind of set up, kind of jigged up here. We're going to get the plasma cutter fired up here and blow this out, but this piece here goes in between the frame rails here. You're going to weld in place in here. So this thing will basically cradle the entire front end of this tractor here. You'll have 7 bolts on each side plus the 4 on the front to bear the weight of this front end loader. I think it ought to be plenty strong enough. This is all 3/4 plate. So we're going to get the plasma cutter fired up here and blow this out and try and make it somewhat pretty. And then we're going to use our transfer punches I have here. I don't know what drawer I'm getting in here. Anyways, I'm going to use my transfer punches here, thread them into the front end of that tractor. Where the bolt holes are, you can see they thread in. These are 3/4 20 transfer punches, and they'll actually mark the center hole as well as the outer diameter. I don't really care about the outer diameter so much as I do the center, and I'll drill them all out, bolt that in place, then we'll get the glue gun and melt her in place.
Holy cow.
What's it say?
2900 degrees Fahrenheit.
There you go. I'll give you my dead blow hammer.
The thing that looks like a pickaxe.
No, the dead blow's in that red toolbox, first drawer, in the bottom. If somebody made this a little snug. Yeah, that's a dead blow.
Rubber.
Yep. Well, it's actually
somewhat
neoprene filled with nothing.
whack.
You want to get me the angle finder?
Yes, I can.
And I'm probably going to need a steel hammer, actually.
Oh, what?
A steel hammer.
Steel.
A 1/2 degree. I'd have to say that I'm somewhat.
Does it matter which one?
1/2 degree deadness? No, just a big, well, that's a framing hammer. Don't grab a framing hammer. That'll work.
Okay. I didn't know there was a whole bunch of different types.
Oh, there's a million different types of hammers.
Sledgehammer, hammer.
So that is 6/10 of a degree. That is 4/10 of a degree. You can probably see it from back there. We're assuming that the grill is straight and nobody's run into it in the past 20 years. It's 5/10. 5/10.
Good.
Well, according to that, might not be straight with the grill, but
Whoa! scared me a little bit.
There you go. You see all them holes?
You wanna pick this thing up?
Oh, that's hot.
It is?
It's a bit hot. Oh.
Hot potato. So you can kind of see them, not much, right in front of my finger. That circle and then that tap. There's there. You can kind of see them right here.
So I don't have annular cutters. That's something that's on the list someday. An annular cutter is basically a hole saw on steroids. Instead of having cheap little thin steel flutes, it has nice carbides. And so with an annular cutter, so I need a 7/8 hole. With an annular cutter, you can go straight from no hole all the way to 7/8 with one pass, because you're only taking out the diameter of the hole, you're not taking out the center of the hole. I don't have those, I only have twist bits. So I'm sizing up. I went from quarter to half and from half to 7/8. I mean, I'm not saying that's the correct steps to make, but that's what I've made and that's what I did on the rest of them. So that's what we're doing. You just gotta step up. When you're using twist bits, you just size up your hole every time. Annular cutters would speed that up, but we don't have those, so use what I got. Well, we got our front piece made here, bolted in place. Use the angle finder, try to make a happy medium as to what the bottom of the grill is and what's actually level.